Welcome back to the sixth edition of BW Business World Young Entrepreneur Summit and Awards 2020. Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is a courage to continue that counts. And post COVID 19, I'm sure with new innovation and bringing up the new skills and moving with the technology, we would definitely survive and we would definitely bounce back with double energy. So, the first panel discussion is going to be on now. The panel topic is the big ugly startups changing rules in corporate India. In the last few years, corporate India has frequently partnered with young, agile startups to address several need gaps. How will this equation change in a post COVID world? I would like to welcome and invite our panelists, our esteemed panelists, to join me on the stage. Dr. Vivek Bindra, founder and CEO, Bada Business. Mr. Abhinav Jain, co-founder and MD, eTechnos. Mr. Balaji Vishwanathan, CEO, Invento Makerspace Private Limited. Ms. Anushka Adya, Chairman, Grow. Mr. Shailesh Gupta, founder and CEO, YOLOBus. Our session chair is Mr. Ved Shukla, founder and CEO, Milomart. So thank you, everyone, and I welcome you all. And over to you, sir, Mr. Ved.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I am audible?
Yes, you are audible, sir. And we welcome all the panelists. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, the fellow panelists, for joining in for the benefit of young entrepreneurs today. I'm so happy to have this stellar panel and steer the discussion through in this because we have a broad range of entrepreneurs here. I mean, it's like quite a nice spread, and we can have different perspectives on how to tackle the current scenario, how to take things forward, how startups can actually go forward and innovate and create and reimagine in this world. So, welcome everybody. Let me introduce you to our panel. We have Abhinav Jain, co-founder and MD, eTechnos. So Anubhav is largely an marketeer, data science engineer, and he loves playing with data. So that's what my understanding is, and I think Abhinav would be able to give us very good insights on how things are changing and how we can leverage and capitalize on these opportunities. Then we have Balaji Vishwanathan. Balaji Vishwanathan is the founder of Invento Makerspace. Balaji is on the cutting edge of, I would say, Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat. So Balaji is a super brand, a go-getter, and his vision is very large. So as I could read about him, because I don't know him personally, but he wants to be the Sony of India, and so that's very good because quality products. It had been always said in the startup world that why can't India be Indian entrepreneurs be creating products, creating services? Why can't we on that front? So manufacturing, creating robots, that's what Balaji loves to do. Anushka Adya, I mean, is again, has a real role to play in this post-COVID world, where she is founder and chairman of a company called Grow, which is into wellness, the largely mental wellness, as I could understand. And with so many pressures everybody is going through, I think that is what her role becomes very, very important here. And Shailesh Gupta is also joining us, who's the founder and chairman YOLOBus. Shailesh is again, very, very restless guy, as I could figure out. I mean, ready to create a lot of things in short time. So that's what his vision is. So I would like to, take things forward and set the tone of the discussion going. That when we talk about startup ecosystem in India, right? So last 2 decades had seen startup ecosystem grow, the startups grow. Initially it was like the age of the disruption, right? So this was like everybody came and the startups came and disrupted everything. So the big guys who were there for decades, who were there for centuries, didn't know what hit them because, I mean, the big ugly, it's like their domain, but they didn't know how the world is changing, and because of their sheer size, they could not, turn things where the agile founders, agile startups came and disrupted everything. So we started writing obituaries for uh, bookstores. We started writing obituaries for media companies and whatnot. I mean, everything is was disrupted. So then came the corporates. Suddenly they realized, they started creating programs in house, outside, partnering with startups. Startups are very happy to partner with the big companies, and then suddenly COVID came, so everything got disrupted, right? So in that background, it would be a very good discussion when when we see that a lot of young entrepreneurs are watching us, and what we can share with them, how we can take things forward. So let me start with Abhinav. Abhinav, would you like to quickly share a little bit about yourself if you want to, and then take and explain how you see the scenario and how things are going forward and what startups can do?
Thank you, Ved. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Abhinav. As Ved introduced me, I'm one of the managing directors as well as co-founders of Almond, as well as A Technos, which is primarily a parent company of Almond. I was in US for almost 8.5 years, and what I learned there is that I was always fascinated with something that startup ecosystem in the West is very very empowered. And exactly when a couple of years ago when things started changing in India, I chose that okay, this is the time to come back. So my opinion here is that as long as you're learning something, you're trying to find out solutions to old problems in a very fascinated or probably in a new way, I think the ecosystem is bright, not just in India, everywhere else. People are looking forward to do things which are very uh, very different than how the things were before, as well as there are corporates, as you call big ugly. They are also trying to disrupt. So opportunity here is not just to create or innovate things, it's also to create collaborations with these corporates, where for every small thing where they're trying to create things on their own, if they can also participate with us and collaborate with startup, small startups or probably a small and medium businesses. With that said, what my opinion is that the opportunity is very large, especially with COVID. I think it has been multiplied by, if not 10 times, probably 100 times, even more than that. And every small problem that we were facing, now there is a solution for it, there is a technology for it, and there is an app for it. And that's where the opportunity grows even faster. That's my take on this piece. Over to you, Ved sir.
Awesome, awesome. Going forward, going on to Balaji, we would just like to, hear, and if you want to share something, some insights with us, so which we can be benefited with, that would be wonderful. You are on mute, I guess. Balaji, we can't hear you. Can we now? Abhinav, can we hear us?
I don't know his mic. We can't hear him.
Yeah, we can't.
Okay, so by the time Balaji you fix your mic, let me move to Salesh. Salesh is here. Salesh is founder and chairman of YOLOBus. He has really made a mark for himself and created some impact. So, Salesh, would you like to share how you think we are going and how we can capitalize on that?
Thanks, Ved, for inviting me to this panel. And I'll just quickly give a quick brief background about myself. So I have been a serial entrepreneur since college days. My last startup before founding YOLO was Innovate Co-working. It was recently acquired by Eurooms. And prior to that, I have worked at companies like Mbibe, an tech company. And prior to that, I founded a company called Mintzone, a payment gateway company, which was acquired by a Bangalore-based firm. So have been through multiple startups in past. I think the opportunity which what you are referring to is essentially how, and there's a saying, startups are driven by innovation and corporates are driven by distribution. So startups should get distribution before the corporates get innovation, and that's the sweet spot where everyone is looking to operate. For startups, if you collaborate with corporates, and for example, I can give you from my own example. Mbibe was a company which was a startup, and recently Reliance bought it out. The value prop for Reliance is they have the network, they have the muscle power to push education technology products throughout the deep corners of India because of Geo and because of their reach. But Mbibe, they had the IP which no one else can build, and by collaborating at a more strategic level, it's working out for both the companies because Mbibe doesn't need to rebuild the entire sales org and entire distribution org, whereas Reliance doesn't need to think of building AI ground up. So for startups, it's an increase in revenues and independence from external capital. They don't have to depend on VCs anymore. It's evergreen books through which they invest and operate. For corporates, it's getting more innovation, more disruption into their kitty, into their armor, and their culture traditionally has been more of hierarchical. But with collaborating with startups, with working with them closely, they become more entrepreneurial and more agile culture, which is something they need a catalyst to arrive at. And I think this collaboration between startups and corporate help catalyze this process in a much faster way.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very aptly said, Salesh. But now, can I go on to Anushka Adya if she's around, and she's the founder and chairman of Grow. And Anushka, would you like to share with the audience what you I think there's some trouble, Anushka, getting off and on. Okay, by the time she comes, can I just quickly pick your brain, Abhinav, on how data is going to work in this coming forward digital age where COVID is still keeping us away, and social distancing is the norm.
See, data is the new currency. I mean, that's the para that we are listening everywhere. But the difference here is that how big is that currency is that all of us as startup need to understand. Google is the best example that I can talk about data. Every search that you do, they take care of your data, and then eventually they run very contextual advertisements on top of the data. Facebook, you talk about it, and any other such giants. They are not because that they have great technology or anything. The most important thing that they have is that they have the data. Okay, and that data is at some level they are able to identify you as well as show you what you feel that you want, and they can turn your heads around. So data is one piece. On top of it, experience is another piece, because a lot of companies are collecting data. Telecom operators have a lot of data about you, right? Many times you buy products, these companies store data about you. But the other thing is that how are we using this data to create an awesome consumer experience? Because one time I may buy from you, but next time if the experience is not great, it doesn't matter how good the data you have. Now I'm going back to the example, Google again. If every time you come and then you fill those 50 or probably 100 fields form, would you again go back to Google and search a small term? No, you would not. So what Google did it, they said that you just come one time, you log in or you don't log in. But once I know that who you are, let me show you the search results basis on what we know who you are. Now that's where the turn to a consumer experience. Now this is where the world is moving towards. If I talk
and that's where I think the AI and the ML comes, and
exactly.
Awesome. So we have Anushka back with us. Anushka, founder and chairman of Grow, and we would like to hear from her journey a little bit and what she intends and her vision, and then we'll go forward. Yeah. Anushka, over to you.
Yeah. Um, so I think the most important thing in such unprecedented times is to take out the innovativeness that every entrepreneur has. We need to consider COVID-19 as a new landscape, a new playing field that has been given to us, and innovate in that. So what we did with Grow was we launched a couple of months back in the middle of the fear pandemic that started. Grow focuses on mental health of people of India, and we've had unprecedented response because currently, if we look at the statistics, 7.5% of the Indian population already suffers from mental health problems, and this is only set to rise in the coming months because of the economic pandemic that is about to happen, as well as because of the lost generation. Children are not going to school, the youth is unemployed, people are not going to college. There's so many economic disturbances that people have had because of the lockdown. So mental health has suddenly become very relevant. Another factor which I feel is really important is that people are working from home, everything is remote, the human connection bit has been lost. So I feel even companies and corporates, big corporates, will require a lot of mental health counseling for their employees. So that's where my journey has come in, and that's how we fit in to the big corporate setup. But I think in the journey ahead, big corporates will have to adapt. Big corporates will have to accelerate and digitize themselves immediately. I think startups are more lean. They will be able to do it much faster. But with big corporates, there's a lot of permissions, there's a lot of hierarchy that they need to go through. But I think it's fastening the pace. We've done it. I hope that, yeah.
Okay, great. So I'll come back to you. Meanwhile, let me go back to Salesh, who very rightly put the strength of corporates and the strength of the startups. Salesh, would you like to a little go a little further into what your sense is that what should be the way forward for startups? Because startups are very wary, and which is because of the fact that they say, okay, fine, we have a great idea, we have a cutting edge technology, but if we tie up with the startups or sorry with the corporates, I mean, they will just hijack everything and then we'll be left behind dry. So what is your sense in that direction?
So I think there are three stages of any business. So one is the technology, the first stage where you build a technology and you try to uh, 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 take it forward. But the next stage is a product where you make a technology in a context and make a product. And the third stage is a business. So when you start monetizing what you have created and start serving customers. If you are going to a corporate only with technology, they will try to twist you. They will try to definitely take advantage of you because you don't have any meaningful advantage. You don't have customers because you don't have a product yet. But if you go to
Right.
them with a product or post-product stage, which is you have a product market fit, and that's where a startup job is to innovate and find the product market fit. Towards that, corporates don't try to wrangle a lot with you because they understand the value of the product. That's why they're engaging. And as a startup, you should also be very careful of having a media talk of what they want to collaborate with you on, whether they want to invest in you, whether they want to take your services. And instead of disclosing a lot of how they build the technology, they should talk about how they can collaborate in terms of investment or in terms of distribution of the product. So if startups are being smart about this, I think they can leverage a lot from corporates because will not be able to innovate or reinvent the wheel unless they know the technology in and out and how the startup has found the key insight. So I think, and you don't need to speak about them when you're talking of a partnership, when you're talking of an investment at an early stage. So you do this right and you can navigate these corporate discussions very easily and come up with a fruitful outcome.
Great. So that's a good insight for the startups. I
Right.
think we are still finding Balaji to be logging in. So Anushka, the question goes back to you that with as you rightly said that with work from home happening and there's a stretch on the mental well-being of the employees. I think yesterday or day before, Google announced a 3-day work week, weekend for their employees. So, as a startup, how do you see yourself engaging with the corporates, or you see that the corporate should look at the startups, as Sailesh very rightly said, that the know-how and the technology startups have, and the corporates can just leverage and blow it up in their distribution. So how do you see things going from the mental wellness perspective? How you can help the corporates, or the corporates can reach out to you?
Well, I think in general, startups are, I think a few years back it was a buzzword, but I think now they're a very integral part of the Indian ecosystem. And we're bringing in a lot of very relevant technologies and very relevant innovations to the market. If you see today, a lot of the startups have actually become really big corporates, So, startups will definitely play a very integral part going forward because the technologies that we have to bring in, like if you look at the social media apps that are getting launched by the day, cybersecurity apps, which are very, very relevant, they are all being launched by startups. So, startups will help the big corporates to adapt. There'll be a lot of schemes by big corporates to fund these startups as well. And there'll obviously be a lot of acquiring by big corporates. But in the mental wellness, stream, I think it's going to be extremely relevant because work from home, like in the US, it's been declared that, you can work from home till 2021. Now, for a few months, everyone really enjoyed it for, I think, 1 or 2 months work from home. But now it's sort of become a bit of a, tough thing to work from home because we don't understand that there's a very fine line between your personal life and your official work. So while your meetings are going takes, so in order to make sure that employee productivity, employees are talking to each other, there's a little bit of a team bonding happening. So I think mental wellness programs are going to play a very important part to unlock the potential of teams, and that's where I feel we will fit in.
Awesome.
Just to add on to what Anushka said.
Yeah, please carry on.
For example, even like she said, many of the startups have become large corporates, and we are seeing a growing trend between startups purchasing from startups, and that is supporting the ecosystem. Because even in our example at YOLO Bus, we take health insurance from a startup instead of a corporate. We take mobility device services from a startup instead of a corporate. We take facility management services from a startup instead of a corporate. So I think what is happening is the culture of you can rely on a startup and you can grow with them because they are working on the cutting edge of technology. They are working on the cutting edge of processes. It's something which we as corporates have become very open to, right? And that will fuel the growth of startups because now they don't have to find customers who are they don't have to go and fish for customers. Customers are there. If you have a good product, no matter whether it's a large customer or it's a small customer or a startup, they will try and adopt your product because they want to grow faster based on your own product, right? On the back of it.
And there is an advantage to add into that actually, is that startups are fast to market, right? That's the difference, because if I have to get a product which is a great product and everything is great, it will take probably a few months for me to just get approval through a corporate big house. But if I have to just take something, I'll just call, Sailesh and say, Sailesh, this is what I need. And in matter of hours, probably the service will be ready there itself. Now, that's the difference.
Agreement will be done later on, the service will be live first.
See, and it comes down to the end consumer experience, right? And people are not looking for now those 100 pages signed corporate contracts powered by, X, Y, Z. Of course, that's all required legally. But what I'm looking at is, hey, I have this requirement, I have this problem. Can you help me solve that?
Correct.
Right? And there will be 5 people quickly saying, hey, I already have a solution, or let me customize this for you. Now, that's where the fast to market term comes. We recently did a survey of our, 300 or so customers that we have around A Technos and Almond, nationally, internationally. The one key differentiator or the USP that came out basis on the NPS Net Promoter Score survey that we were extremely fast to market. Now, we never imagined that that could be one key difference for the services and technologies that we provide. And then you can keep on iterating, keep on creating new products on top of it or services on top of it. But as early as you can hit the road, the ground running, that's where the added advantage startups will get.
Awesome. So quickly, for the benefit of all the young entrepreneurs who are in the audience, my question is open to everyone, all three of you. What do you see? What are the sunrise areas which the new normal or the abnormal, whatever we want to call it, have thrown out in the open for the entrepreneurs to capitalize on? So, if you can just think through that, and what is your viewpoint? Because with work from home, there is and then of course everybody wanting to get products or services delivered at home. There is a lot of disruption which is happening in the cyber security domain, in your supply chain, in logistics, and within companies also, large companies, there can be functions which need to be quickly addressed with. So starting with the Salesh, what do you think for the young entrepreneurs out there watching us? What is the new sunrise areas and what should they look at?
Yes, Vid. So there are the obvious ones which are like edtech sector, mindfulness apps, because these are in the vogue, something like Grow. However, if you look beyond this, there will be things which will services where you don't have to move outside home. So e-commerce delivery, food delivery, and then because all of these companies are now moving to more digital age, so there is a cloud infrastructure and then cybersecurity for those cloud infrastructure. So you need to analyze the ground one, first order, second order, third order effect to understand what all industries are supporting these businesses to grow, what all industries are supporting these businesses to become digital first, digital native, and then what all those industries will grow because these industries are growing, and then to support these in the next generation of industries in terms of security, in terms of uptime, in terms of delivery or service, those industries will start proliferating. So I think you start from EdTech, you start from IoT, you start from mindfulness, meditation, yoga, these kind of products. These are the obvious answers. But beyond that, it's e-commerce, food delivery, cloud ecosystem, cybersecurity, etc., which will grow to support all these growing fields.
Awesome. Anushka?
Yeah, I think so. I think right now we need to, like I mentioned about the new landscape, the new playing field, we need to look at it as a world war, COVID-19. There's going to be a lot of shifts. There's going to be a lot of innovations. The virus will go away, but what it'll leave behind is a lot of new industries, a lot of new trends, everything. I think some of the sunrise industries are going to be, for the next couple of years, are going to be pharma, tech for sure, self-care, digital entertainment, e-education. I think education is going to shift completely online, which is going to be a great opportunity for India because, a lot of people who are not educated, especially in the rural areas, can now access that via internet connectivity. So that is a huge opportunity. And then I think artificial intelligence and automation, of course, and of course the industries mentioned by, my co-panelist. Yeah.
Abhinav, your take on this?
Yeah, I think Salesh and Anushka mentioned quite, clear-cut understanding of where the industries would be. I have a slightly different opinion here. See, in last 4 months, we have developed habits, right? These habits are that now I don't plan for travel. Okay, if I have to do a meeting, I'll just, either call him or take him on a WebEx or anything. Second is that, people have become humble. I don't mind if someone's mic is not working or someone has a noise in the back end. And because I have a 6-month-old at home and I know that all of my people are also listening to his lovely, crying baby voice all the time. So these two things are very important. And so where the startup needs to think is that these habits that we have developed, and right now you are live on Almond Vertex, which is on our own product, which can take, hundreds of thousands of end users taking live on the, audience side. What we are also seeing is that eventually events will also turn into virtual experiences. I'm not saying that the completely all the events will be, happening virtually, but I can also tell you that at least 50 or so percent will turn virtual because of multiple reasons. It takes now more time to get an approval from our CFO for a travel. Also, the cost of these experiences will be almost 30%, probably even less in some cases. And third, it saves everyone's time. Now we have developed that habit. Startups should be looking at that. What new habits have we are developing? Second piece, so that was on the events and experiences. Second, that I loved about what Anushka said about the rural education. There's a thing that we call last mile digital. Last mile doesn't mean that only rural. It means that anyone who is end of the day using your product or experiencing your product will be a last mile user. So for a big large corporate, it could be a trade partner, a retailer, or a stockist. For a small startup, it could be the end consumer who's taking a ride. Or for another kind of startup, it could be a wellness, a person who wants to take those services. How do you reach out to them in a seamless way so that they were able to consume your products or take your services with the ease of internet? India has got 40% still users who do not have access to smartphones. How do you reach out to them, whether they are connected to internet or not connected to internet? So last mile digital is another piece, which is where I think startups has a huge, open scope. My opinion was different because I still feel all the other works which is happening, which travel is less, of course, hospitality is less. They are trying to innovate. I recently read a case study which is where in Brazil or Florida somewhere they turned the hotels into office spaces. Now that's very interesting. So they knew that out of 1,000 rooms, only probably 100 rooms will be used for next few months. Other 900 rooms were turned into small cubicles for offices, and they have rented it out at a very cheap price. Now that's innovation, that's disruptive, and might even go for longer than what we expected. So I think innovation is everywhere. It's time for people like Kailesh or Anushka or all of us to tap on and just find out where is the missing opportunity and how quickly we can grab that.
Okay, so we are running out of time, but I would like to bring your attention to a very, very important aspect, and why we had this discussion today is that post-COVID world, startups are really challenged, right? In terms of their cash flows, in terms of probably their services were redundant for a while during the lockdown. They had to cut costs, fundings were not coming. I mean, lot of challenges. So survival challenges, right? Now the thing is that if you'll survive, you'll thrive, right? Now, starting with the Sailesh, coming back to the whole discussion of whether startups should be collaborating with the big corporates, and how we can leverage startups can leverage these kind of collaborations, because what had happened is that COVID has really thrust upon digital transformations even to large corporates, right? Digital transformation which they would have taken in next 5 years or 10 years. Okay, so startups who have a product and a service, but still they are not finding the cash flows, or they are struggling to survive. Do you think that it is a good idea for them to try and look at the corporates which are looking for those kind of fast turnaround services and take things forward and grow and thrive in the future?
Yes, of course. That's a no-brainer for any startup, because your first and as a founder, your topmost priority is survival. You have to survive because there are lives depending on your company, right? There are people who have been employed and their families depend on the continuous paycheck. And for you to meet that, you can't afford not to be out in the market doing business development, doing sales, getting customers. And if it means going to the rigmarole of corporate handling, corporate discussions, you have to do that. And I think today even corporates have become nimbler in terms of supporting those startups. So it's like the thing: if you are pushed against a wall, you become fierce. If you're cornered, you become fierce as a founder, and then try come up with innovative solutions. to generate cash flows, to become profitable, and to start. So, and we have seen this trend where many companies who would otherwise not try to make revenues, not try to focus on profitability, but try to capital raising funds, are now being advised and coerced and nudged by the investors as well as them themselves mature that they want to focus on unit economics, they want to focus on getting cash flow, they want to focus on becoming self-sustainable because you never know if the similar wave is going to strike you another next year or not, right? And you don't want to be caught in crash 22 situation where you're again left high and dry and your survival, whatever you've created in last few years with your sweat, blood and tears is down the drain. So I think everyone has become very serious about looking at how to get more revenues, how to get cash flows in, how to look at bringing profitability, how to get the cost down. And for corporates, so what means in terms of reducing the cost is getting service from a startup because they are cheaper, they are faster, they are agile. They don't have the overheads which a large corporate who's providing the same service will have. So it works for everyone because, I think I answered that part.
Yeah, awesome. So quickly, a very brief thoughts on that, Anushka, and then Abhinav, and we wrap up because we have run out of time.
I mean, the job of not job, but an entrepreneur has to, be willing to face uncertainty, and that's the quality that defines and makes the entrepreneur different. So I'm sure that most entrepreneurs will find a way to pivot and adjust to the new environment. For sure, for example, like a lot of restaurants that shut shop overnight, they became food delivery, right? So these are small innovations that are making startups thrive and survive. And I think every startup and every founder, not every, but most will find a way to survive. And that's how the Indian entrepreneur ecosystem is. And I surely believe that startups will thrive. Yeah.
Great. Abhinav, very brief, very brief.
So I'll just add one point that we always underestimate the power of team. Guys, we need to believe in our team because only one person cannot just do everything. What we have always tried to do as an entrepreneur or startup, when we were very small, right now we are 100 people, but we were always, think nimble. That if your team is with you, no matter what the market situations are or the business conditions are, whether your teams are trying to understand or paying you or not, but your team needs to be there. Of course, you also own the responsibility to make sure that they're able to work, they're able to eat, they're able to wear something. As long as you can do that, I think it will strive and thrive, and we all will survive.
Great. So, thank you, Anushka. Thank you, Abhinav. Thank you, Salesh. It was amazing having you guys here, and I think you guys are doing great work. And India needs you. So keep on doing the good work, and wish you all the best, and all the startups who are watching. Be hopeful, be agile, be innovative, and don't be wary of partnering with the big uglies. Okay. With that note, I think we would like to sum up the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you
very
everyone.
much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.